Alright, let's look over some of the latest and greatest deck lists that have come up from the Modern Preliminary. Wafotapa, don't forget about this guy. Control Master. Huge fan of Esper, but he's dropping the black right now because, well, frankly, there's no need to. Azorius Control, still firmly one of the best control decks in Modern between Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, which, by the way, is better than Jace the Mind Sculptor. Now looks like the Wandering Emperor is now better than Jace the Mind Sculptor, because you don't even see Jace in this list. You don't see Jace in this list. The Wandering Emperor, very awkward, weird-looking card, but you know what? Because you can play it for flash speed, it's now playable in these blue-eye control versions. And you know, flash speed, exile the single creature that you're attacking with, not bad at all. One of the core reasons this deck is so strong is because of Teferi Time Raveler interacting so damn well versus the Crashing Footfall deck and Living End decks. It's basically like Otawara or bust. You need to have Otawara for Teferi Time Raveler, or you're basically not going to be doing anything. 3 Snapcaster Mage, interesting choice, because that takes out the possibility of Kahira as a companion in the sideboard. And truth be told, there was a lot of there was a lot of extra spells that you can Snapcaster anyway, but no, you know what? Wafotapa says that we're going back to Snapcaster Mage because that's still plenty good. Prismatic Ending to Supreme Verdict. Archmage's Charm went way up in value, and I was even talking about this with MTG Gaming Bob. Where is this card? The card has gone, it's gone sky high. Once you ban Lurrus, now the value of this thing actually got way better, because we're no longer in a situation where you steal like a Dragon Rage Channeler, they kill their own Dragon Rage Channeler, and then they play Lurrus and get it back. Now this is just a straight 2-for-1 for absolutely no reason. So you steal their Ragavan, and it's really game over because you're going to use that Ragavan versus them. Counterspell, Fire and Ice, and that's about it. 2 dress down in the main deck. So now it's gone from like a sideboard card to a main deck card, because if you don't deal with those constructs, I mean, it's like really game over. And occasionally you can prevent them from having a gigantic Murktide to be on the battlefield. We also have unfortunately, Amulet Titan deck. This deck is always somewhere between super OP and just regular OP. No huge, I mean, Cultivator Colossus. There seems to be this like flex spot in Amulet Titan where you can just play whatever big dumb nonsense that you want just to test it out to see what happens. Cultivator Colossus is not too bad because it's got this, you know, the power and toughness is now equal to the number of lands you control, and Amulet Titan is always in the situation where they have a ton of lands in play and maybe nothing to do if you've already answered their main threats. So it's like an additional gigantic beater. Enters the battlefield, you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. Deck is full of lands. Deck is choke full of lands, so you could chain through a bunch of lands before you find another great spell. Makes me wonder if this deck is going to get Valakut banned again. Like, we're not there yet, but Valakut was banned before. And I don't think there was a deck that really pushed Valakut over the top until Dry to the Elysian Grove. Like, this card has no business in this entire deck. Amulet Titan had its own like personality until like Valakut came along, and now Valakut plus Dryad. This is a bit disgusting to me. So I mean, one of these things, I doubt they're gonna toss Dryad away, but they could toss the Valakut away one day. But Amulet and Titan, that's probably a pair that we're gonna see for a long time coming. And we have the Crashing Footfall deck, which still on paper looks like nonsense to me. If someone looked at this 75, you know, not playing this format, and you were to tell them that like this is like a top 2 deck, maybe top 3 deck, they probably wouldn't believe you. They probably wouldn't believe you. Like, what's your main way of winning the game? Well, this Crashing Footfalls. This is really mid-rangey, though, for the version. You know, we have quite a few Bone Crusher Giants. Stomping a very important piece to this deck, slowing the opponent down so you get your Shardless Agents and your Violent Outbursts online by turn 3. Same thing with Brazen Bar for its Petty Theft. So it's a pretty chunky version of the Crashing Footfall deck, but still playing a good chunk of removal. Dead/Gone. The Gone being amazing against Murktide. They play the Murktide, they exile their graveyard. Then you just return the target creature you don't control to its owner's hand. So good versatility versus... I mean, this card is like literally for the blue-red Murktide deck. Dead can hit Dragon Rage Channeler and Ragavan, and then Gone can hit the Murktide side. Kebby G says, you are complaining about Amuletite, and I am over here rathering face that over control decks. I'd rather face the control decks. And then until Wafotapa came back, I thought the control decks were starting to go extinct. I'm not seeing that, not as many control players out there as usual. Usually there's this huge swarm of control players. People love playing control. And it's still good. There's nothing wrong with control, really. There's absolutely nothing wrong with control. All right, who else do we have up here? We've got, of course, a Hammer Time deck. Burnt and Forged Tender in the main. That's some spice. Esper Sentinel, 3 Giver of Runes, 3 Ornithopter, 4 Pure Steel Paladin, 4 Stoneforged Mystic, the Reality Chip. Remember, this is not like a weird one of fun of. It's an equipment. It's an equipment jellyfish. It's in the wrong pile. Usually all the artifacts are in the artifact pile, but because Reality Chip is a jellyfish, gets to be in the creature pile. But it's an equipment that you can find with Stoneforged Mystic, so it's not a weird one of. 1 Steel Shaper's Gift, 1 Blacksmith's Skills. I have to say, this doesn't look like the most... like, I don't know how to put it. Like, 1 of Steel Shaper's Gift, 1 of Blacksmith's Skills. This is a lot of weird 1-ofs. A few extra swords, I think, in the deck that aren't that necessary. But still, deck's super powerful. Gotta respect the hammer. And, of course, the other Cascade deck. I can see why Wafotapa came out on top at 4-0, because he was prepared with all the counter spells and the Teferis for these these Cascade decks, which includes Living End, Architects of Will, Brazen Borrower, Colossal Sky Turtle, Curator of Mysteries, 4 Grief, 4 Shardless Agent, 4 Street Wraith, 4 Striped Riverwinder, a Rex, and Waker of Waves. And the most important card in this deck is definitely going to be Otawara to deal with the Chalice of the Voids, the Teferi Time Revelers, and whatever else is in the way of the Living End deck from comboing off. Jermaine says, so many control players at my local game store, such an annoying matchup. Well, it depends. If you play Ether Vial and Cavern of Souls, it's not nearly as annoying. It's more annoying for them. And we got the how many people are in this thing? Okay, so we have a Yawgmoth deck, which now is pretty solidly like tier 1. This is not like a tier 1 in the, or like tier 2 or tier 1 like that's underrated and underrepresented. This is strictly a tier 1 deck now. A lot of people are playing it. Maybe thanks to the articles written about it, that now people understand how this deck works, what they're looking for when they're trying to win with it. The deck was underrated even before they got Grist the Hunger Tide, but now that they have it, it's gone over the top. This is definitely a deck you must absolutely need to be prepared for. They basically go for Yawgmoth, and if they have enough Young Wolves and Geralf's Messengers on the battlefield, it's game over for you. And if they don't have that exact combination, they draw a pile of cards. I can't believe this ability. You just pay 1 life, sack a creature, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature, and then draw a card. I think that's insane. I think that's insane. You can just exchange all the nonsense on the battlefield for more cards, and at the same time it like machine guns down all your opponent's creatures. Well, assuming they're small enough, but usually, you know, there's nothing that enormous in Modern, unless it's too late, like a Primeval Titan. So Yawgmoth deck, be prepared. And oh yeah, we got the more mid-rangey version of Blue-Red Murktide. So no Dragon Rage Channeler, but Jace the Mind Sculptor. Is this the same person? Boy Triton? There was another person that tried to do this. So this is like an ad. It's like just a slower version of Blue-Red Murktide. So no Dragon Rage Channeler. Beef it up with the Jaces and some Dress Downs. And I guess like a Brazen Borrower. But it's basically the exact same deck. but more on the mid-range side. I mean, it's hilarious. They have 19 lands. 19 lands! And still playing with Jace. It's like, okay, we were going to raise our curve and not change our mana base at all. Makes no sense to me. The Amazing Wally says, I'd love to see Valakut get rebanned. Titan players don't actually Titan. They just throw mountains. I know! So sad. We need to bring balance back to Modern. Reban the Valakut. But then, you know what? You got the Titan Shift players who are not playing Amulet. They're like, don't ban our deck. Don't you dare do that. Any Titan Shift players out there? Don't ban my deck. Went 3-0 with Blue-White Control yesterday. 2-1 against Hammer. 2-0 against Tron. 2-2. Or sorry, 2-1 against Ayorian Death and Taxes. Congratulations. See, Blue-White Control is still good. The Hammer matchup might be tough, but it should still be good. I feel like Living End is super soft to Graveyard Hate. Well, it is. Took it out on Monday with just a Lion Sash. Oh, you just beat it with a Lion Sash? Well, that's unusual, I think. Because they've got a lot of removal and stuff for that Lion Sash, and I guess they didn't find it. One Lion Sash takes down Living End. I faced 2 Yawgmoth decks with Rex's Goat deck yesterday. I believe I won both matches. 1 life, draw a card. Sounds like Yawgmoth's bargain to me. Sounds like also Necropotence. Unban Jite? I'm totally fine with that. Ban Valakut, unban Jite. Now, I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with Modern right now. Modern's... everything is really powerful in Modern right now, so there's a lot of powerful decks. So honestly, Titan is the last that I'm worried about, but I would just say something to look for deep into the future. That's probably going to be a problem, because Amulet Titan's one of those decks that when they come out with a new big great card, it just goes straight into the Amulet Titan deck, and there's not even a whole lot of work to like jam. They can play almost anything. Is what I'm getting at, especially if it's a green card. If it's a green creature card, no problem. And so one day Amulet will go over the top, and then we'll be picking out, okay, what are we going to get rid of? Are we going to get rid of the Primeval Titan, or are we going to get rid of the Amulet? And maybe the easy quick fix is to get rid of Valakut. D-Tie Gaming, genuine question. Why do people dislike Control 4? Because it's annoying. Play card, gets countered. Play another card. Does it get countered? Yeah, it gets countered. Play card, gets countered. Or the alternative scenario is play card. Oh, resolves. Play card. Oh, resolves. Play card. Oh, resolves. Supreme verdict. Lose everything. Yeah, I'm really suspicious when things resolve. If something resolves, you play extra safe. You play very careful. You should know something's amiss. Why would you think they would let that thing resolve for nothing? No, you better believe they've got some trap. They're gonna trap you so bad. Man. You know I'm a Titan Shift player. Please don't ban my Valakut. I need Deathrite Shaman back for my Shaman deck. Oh, good God. Is Deathrite Shaman a Shaman? Probably. I never really looked into it. Yeah, Elf Shaman. There it is. Just as described, as advertised. A local game store is hosting a Legacy FNM tomorrow night. First place gets an Alliance Force of Will. Let's go Merfolk. Yes, the deck that doesn't need the Force of Will because you probably already have them. Or you don't have it, and now you're fighting for one. I still believe if they had to ban a card from Amulet, it would be Amulet. It's the only card that pushes it into a busted deck. But if you ban Amulet, then you are banning that deck, for sure. You're completely taking away all its personality. But then again, if we ban Valakut, then we'd ban Titan Shift. If we banned Amulet, then Titan Shift would come in and take its place almost immediately, because like the regular Amulet shell, I don't think would be playable. Well, it'd be playable, but like it wouldn't be very good. Primeval Titan and Pioneer went never. Never, never, never. Kyle Driver. Huge supporter of the channel. huge. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hold on, I'm going to... No, I'm going to do nothing. They got rid of Field of the Dead when Amulet was making too many zombies in a non-zombie deck. Exactly. Exactly what the situation. Neil says, I'm here for a good time. Alright, let's have a good time. So why do you guys hate Control? What's the problem with Control? Also, Control matches take forever. Well, you could resign. Then it would be really short. It's your fault that you're pushing it so long. Alright, let's see you later, Falky. But you don't really need to announce this. Kevin says, what should we be doing in Merfolk to prepare for Yawgmoth? It's the only deck giving me trouble in the challenges. My plan is Subtlety and Counterspell with some relics, maybe a Needle effect. So, I take two routes to this. I either kill all their creatures or Counterspell their most important spells. Those are my two lines of play, pending what my hand looks like and how my opponent's playing out their hand. So, I have a very good record versus Yawgmoth, but it all comes down to... And it depends, like, what you have in your sideboard, but I'm either trying to remove all the creatures from play, either bouncing them with Harbinger, or dismembering them, or whatever, or I'm trying to counterspell the key cards. So I'll hold up Force of Negation and Counterspell to deal with Eldritch Evolution, or Chord of Calling, because I know they're going to go get Yawgmoth, or I need to just counterspell Yawgmoth itself. If Yawgmoth doesn't hit the battlefield, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, but those are my lines of play. Now, you could also go down the creature removal route, where you're just trying to keep the board as empty as possible, because that makes it harder for them to Chord of Calling. It makes it harder for them to make any use out of Yawgmoth if it ever lands on the battlefield. So that's the other way of doing it. And hopefully that is some useful information to you. Yes. Well, there's a lot of things in the name that's not in the creature type. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but maybe someone in chat knows. Like, a card is different in name, but like its name and its creature type are quite a bit different. What do you think of people finding more obnoxious, Azorius or Orzhov Control? Or Azorius. Supreme Verdict. Uncounterable sweeper. I resolve things because I don't have an answer and is drawing badly. Oh, okay. An Aztec guy has his playsets of Force of Will, but going for a fifth one. You can never have enough Force of Wills. Or just ban Dryad. I mean, that's a line too. But it's a newer card, so well, it's not that new. It's been around for like 2 years now, right? Yeah, maybe we could just ban the Dryad. Goodbye, Dryad. Mikey J says, just ban more BS cards. Good, I was afraid Deathrite was practicing without a shaman's license. Titan Shift would be a healthy tier 2, tier 3 though. You know, this Titan Shift might be like tier 1 and nobody knows. Just nobody's looking at it. It's like a smooth Amulet Titan deck, and like it's not as weak to Blood Moon. I want to know how good Titan Shift is now in the metagame, because I imagine it is still good. There is nothing wrong with this deck. Probably its biggest problem is maybe Hammer and surviving to the late game. But if you can get Dryad Elysian Grove out, then you can just play you can play an extra land to interact. Last of Us Clip says, I like playing Control, but I don't like playing the mirror. You gotta love, that's an acquired taste. You have to enjoy playing the mirror. You have to engage. You have to embrace the mirror. And you gotta play fast. And you gotta remind your opponent to play faster. You're gonna go into the draw bracket, and then you're gonna play more mirrors. I'm all for bad players playing Control. Good players, on the other hand. Oh yeah, that's another way of looking at it. I hate playing Control when my opponent plays too slowly when they play too safely. I hate playing Control when my opponents play too slow. Oh, I see. Yeah. D-Type Gaming, I dislike the statement when people say control players take forever. 9 times out of 10, it's my opponent that takes forever to make their decisions. So what it comes down to is, like, a good control player will play fast. They already know what they want to do. They understand that it's mostly land drop go, land drop go. They have no big decisions. They're not going to main phase their Archmage's Charm or anything like that. But the bad control players, even if they're playing at a reasonable pace, they're a bad control player. Like, you have to play quickly. You gotta snap it out. And so, yeah, if you're up against a bad control player, you better have a plan of winning the game, like, really, really quickly. Control is fine. Some people hate it because you feel you can play nothing. For some reason, it feels okay to have your creature destroyed instead of countered because at least you played it. Yeah. It is weird like that, isn't it? Felt like you're in the game, when really it's just it's essentially a pre-removal spell. A premeditated... Counter spells are premeditated removal spells. I hate control because my brother has a mono-black control, and I play with him all the time. Not mono-black control. Blue-White Merfolk just leave up Solitude or March. Skyclave app is what destroyed Yogg yesterday? Is it? Genlo says, I hate Amulet. I think this deck can do everything. Turn 3 Titan? No problem. With Urza's Saga? Oh yeah, they play with Urza's Saga too. That is... And any new great land, they could just put it straight into the Titan deck. And they can grind with Saga or Valakut. Hate? No problem. Expedition map, find Boseiju, ban Titan. So we got Genlo, the anti-Titan. Got some Titan hate here. And then we've got F. Pavlush. His defense to this all the time is, it's a 6-mana spell! How can you ban a 6-mana spell? Is there room for Coco in this value meta? Is it a value meta? It's not really value meta, actually. It's like it's a tempo meta. You know what? Like, right now, it's a tempo meta. Like, if we go back to the deck lists... I have to say, I'm dying with if I lose, I'm always losing with cards in hand. So we have this. So we have this like aggressive combo deck, Amulet. So that deck's winning really quickly. So beat it before it beats you. And then we've got Crashing Footfall deck, which is, you know, it's trying to slow you down, slow the tempo down with these removal spells and bounce spells, and then take over with the Crashing Footfalls and close the game out really quickly before you can counterattack. And so it's like aggro and tempo right now, if I were to define this meta. Value has nothing to do with it. Like, you can have all the value you want, and you just die in two or three turns against the Colossus Hammer deck. The Hammer Time deck. Same thing with Living End. Have all the value you want. You can just get it all wiped away, and that's all gone. Definitely not a value meta right now. And which is why, like, the Yawgmoth deck, it's a combo deck, right? Like, it's a combo deck. You try to get the combo online and you win. There's other ways of winning, but essentially it's still like a combo deck. It's like, I guess it's like Birthing Pod. You know, you can play a value game, but you can combo win out of nowhere. It's nothing better for my win percentage than a weak playing showing up with a control deck. They're a weak player. Absolutely. What are other... Maybe this is a great discussion point. What are signs of a bad control player? What are signs? I'm trying to think. Like, playing Opt on your main phase. Well, maybe they're playing Opt on their main phase to look for a land or something. What are some classic signs? Orzhov control isn't so bad. Destroy a creature feels better than counter your spell for some reason. Because I feel like... Bad control. Okay, so playing painfully slow. That's one. But there's more. I can't think of it. It's like how they activate their planeswalkers. Do you want to... Okay, so another one is like playing Jace the Mind Sculptor and opting to use the bounce on Jace the Mind Sculptor. When I watch Harry MTG, he 100%, almost 100% of the time, just brainstorms. It's like, even if it's just going to die to the creatures, doesn't matter. Brainstorm away. Sign 1, counter stuff just to counter it. Cracking fetch land, tapped land on main phase. Oh, that's a bad one. Casting spells or cracking fetches in main. Control player saying good game before the game starts. Using counters against looting effects and flashback spells. Ah, I wouldn't have thought about that. So you think they should let them do that? Well, what if the looting deck is like some sort of dredge deck? You may not want them to actually get anything going. Cracking fetch lands earlier than necessary? Yeah, especially if you got Jace the Mind Sculptor in your deck, which is becoming less and less of a thing, thanks to the Wandering Emperor. They say it's the first time I'm playing this deck and I never played Control. Oh yeah, just if they're being honest. Oh yeah, I just built Control. I just got my Teferi Hero of Dominarias. Playing mono blue Control. Cracking fetch lands at the wrong time, especially in Legacy with Brainstorm. Yeah. That's more of a Brainstorm issue in general. How to play Brainstorm long. Enjoy this 2-hour audiobook. I went 1-5 at face-to-face tournament, and my round 7 opponent was on Control. He was definitely a poor... Oh, don't call them out, though. How many round 7 opponents were there at face-to-face? Oh, but you were in the super losers bracket with him. But this is also sort of a shot at yourself, Vaughn. Bad Control player sign. They actually have to read your cards and don't know them all. That must be brutal. Yeah, you like pick up Control just out of nowhere. Like, yeah, I'm going to play this deck in this tournament. I don't even really know the format. So you don't know what to counterspell. You don't know what to be playing around. You don't even know what the deck's essence is. That's going to be tough. I've had someone try to counter my creature that was cast off of Cavernous Souls. It was a pretty good indicator there. You know what? I've had even good Control players like screw that up before. Well, but it's rare. So let's just say good Control players, they'll just once in a blue moon try to counter an uncounterable creature. But then, like, you know, the worse the Control player gets, the higher the likelihood that that's going to happen. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Usually with Cryptic Command, I don't know why. Cryptic Command, counter draw. I'm like, yeah, okay, that resolves. They draw a card. Okay, can my spell resolve now? Trying to counter uncounterable spells or cards like Boseiju. I guess that's something I don't see online. Yeah, they might try to counter that. Counter uncounterable stuff. When they counter spell because they don't recognize it. When they counter spells because they don't know what it is. Happens all the time. Counting their mana before upkeep. That's weird. Honestly, inexperienced Control players tend to be overly aggressive with counters and removal. Not holding up 2 blue. Thinking that counterspell stops cast triggers. Oh, that's a level of bad. Oh, yeah. That's in a level of bad we've never seen. I believe bad Control players are often seen on how uncomfortable they are staying at a low life, even if they aren't against a color with red or black. Am I wrong? No, you might not be wrong. Maybe about their 5, they're getting nervous. There's a dude who plays Control at my local game store I go to, and we've always had banger games. I forget about Cavern on occasion, since outside of Control, it's just a 5-color land. That's right. So you're just picking up Control for the first time. You're that type of person that might end up trying to counter an uncountable creature. Not knowing lands are colorless? Oh, is that relevant for... That's relevant for something. Choose a color. I can't remember what this is important for. The bad Control players, and not, oh yeah, so lands are colorless. The bad Control players don't play a single Teferi in their deck. Or maybe they just can't afford Teferi. There's a difference between a bad Control player and a poor Control player. That's a difference. Control players who go to time constantly need to be banned from control. Are you a banned from playing the control deck? Control player who are in too much of a rush to an uncertain win rather than waiting until they are good and effing ready to win for sure. Oh, relevant for Valakut? From a spectator's view, you can tell a poor control player by the hands they keep. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's unbearable looking at what they're doing. Okay, if Crashing Footfalls be OP... would... If Crashing Footfalls be OP if Simian Spirit Guide wasn't banned? Good question. I'm gonna guess no. But I don't know, because there are some versions of Crashing Footfalls playing, I mean, let's go take a look at the list. They're playing Gemstone Caverns. So where's our Footfalls deck? It's our Living End deck. Here's our Footfalls. So they have 2 Gemstone Caverns, which is essentially their Simian Spirit Guide. So maybe they would. Maybe they would play. Maybe it would be busted. Consistent turn to... You know what? I would actually lean to say that it would be busted. If Simian Spirit Guide was unbanned and it was legal, then these Crashing Footfall decks would definitely be churning out turn 2 Crashing Footfalls. A bad control player is one that isn't playing red, green, and a Bosch. Oh yes, of course. Colin is just... You fell in love with that Smooth Brain Stompy deck ever since it was crafted on deck list review. Keeps hands that miss early land drops. True. True story. All of what we were saying about poor control players can be said about poor players in general. Well, no, not really, because not all players are playing decks with counter spells. You can also see a lot into how good or bad a control player is based on how they build their deck. So like I think it was talked about earlier, you know, if it has overly too much removal, too many counter spells, not enough sweepers, planeswalkers, and other utility cards, then it's usually a bad control player. Tiago, I was playing Mill versus Titan. I had an Ensnaring Bridge in play. Opponent fetched an Expedition map with an Urza Saga. Got Boseiju out of the map, blowing up my bridge. Titan used to be a good matchup. Wow. Isn't it still a good matchup? Can't you just, you know, surgical extract the Primeval Titan and we just call it a game? I mean, I know they have the alternate win with Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but still. News about the building in the background. What building? You mean this thing? My phone? Falky? Now I just like red-green aggro. My true love is for the Angels. Angel Tribal. You players are still waiting on some good Angels to come out. They've actually printed a lot of new Angels, but it's still not there. Am I going to play Explore? What? And what question is this coming from? Like Titan Shift? From a conversation from 20 minutes ago? Thinks you need a good win con, or you could deck your opponent. You could do that, but that's not strategically smart. Like online you could do that, but in paper you can't do that. It would not be a good idea, because you can win with the Teferi Hero of Dominaria. Just like emblem off, then just tuck your own Teferi back into your deck perpetually. Scooping, opponent scooping to frustration is a win con. Not a very reliable one, but yes, it is. Because then you're going to get those people that says, alright, beat me, I don't care. And then you're like, oh crap, I have no way of winning. Alright, time for the clock to get just sucked up. I think they want an update on the construction outside. Oh, there's constantly construction outside. They're building this gigantic, like, condo, the 2 buildings of condos outside my window. But what's exciting is they say there's going to be a store at the bottom of the condo. So I want to know what's now going to be in walking distance from me. Make this YouTube replay. MTG players hate control. Because that's all I'm hearing. Oh, well, no, I could replay. I could rename it, what makes a bad control player. In fact, maybe I'm going to do that. Maybe I can do that right now. I'm renaming this, what makes signs of a bad control player. Okay, we'll save that on Facebook and we'll save that on YouTube. Signs of a bad... It's not how we start the show, but that's how we're ending it. This is hilarious. It's a great conversation. The sponsors have not been thanked, actually. We're having so much fun talking about bad control players that we gotta thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week this week, save up to 15% off all Magic Booster Packs. This is probably going to be exclusive to Canada because they can only ship sealed product within Canada. But there you go, 15% off all MTG boosters. You can still also get your sealed product and singles from Streets of New Capenna. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for 5% off all your purchases. And we're going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Your route to playing a Pioneer anytime you want. Play all the decks, play test. There is a Pro Tour coming up. Pioneer is becoming much more hotly played. It went from like 200 players in the leagues up to 900 to 1,000. So, I mean, they're doing healthy. They're doing good. And you can play this format, try it out when using Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_K3W. Okay, now we got the sponsors out of the way. Nassif and Waffle are pretty slow. You know what? I think Nassif is actually pretty fast, but he will at critical moments soak up a lot of time to make a good move. I think what it comes down to is how fast or slow are they in paper? Because online you can manage your time however you want, but in paper Magic, it's a completely different ball game. If you take up too much time, if you soak up like these really long terms in paper, then you'll go to time and it's not good. So you have to play way faster in paper. But with the chess clock, you have manage your time however you want. And Nassif definitely makes it work for him. You haven't uploaded on the news channel in a while. Well, I need someone to chop up these Coffee and MTG videos and just throw them up there. There is not really much news today. You know, I was looking for news. I was a little bit late because I looked for 20 minutes for anything newsworthy. There wasn't really anything. The best thing I could find, but I didn't really want to care that much to talk about it, was like Paulo Vitor Dominarosa found a sponsor to host his articles. I think it was MTG Arena Zone. Happy to announce I'll be writing weekly on the MTGArenaZone.com premium service starting next week. I'll also be on their Discord answering questions and addressing feedback. So if you want to get in touch with Paulo Vitor Dominarosa, you want his beautiful articles, go check him out at MTG Arena Zone. It's where the Hall of Fame member Paulo Vitor Dominarosa is going to go. Now also probably just, I don't think he gets enough credit. I mean, there are people who make mention of this, but I'm pretty sure Paulo Vitor Dominarosa is the best player in the history of the game. I think he's the best player ever in Magic the Gathering. I think his modern day results dwarf the old results of John Finkel and Kai Buddha. But how do you pronounce his name? Is it Buddha, or is it Bud, or is it Buddy? That's been a mystery to me for eternity. Oh, we've got a super chat from D27A4G63T. It's like you got your username from a serial number from some sort of car part. New to the deck list review, don't have a Discord yet, but considering, is there a way to add a deck description to the list for you? Yes, because wherever you submit the deck list, you could put a description. Like on MTG Goldfish, you can put a description on in addition to the deck list. So, yep. You just whatever site you submit it on, just add a description, and then try to remind me that there's a description. I think the easiest is MTG Goldfish because it's like clearly there. You just go. I just go below the deck list and there's a description. Oh, his name is Data Agent in sort of leet speak, but I didn't see the date. I don't see the A in the 2. Why not just use a 4? I beat him in a GP, so therefore you're better than Paulo Vito Dominarosa. Oh yeah, MTG Arena gets Capana today. I think also Magic the Gathering Online, right? So we finally have access to the cards. Here's some news. I timed out for the first time ever on Magic the Gathering Online last night. Good God. Were you playing Control? Were you playing Control? Do you think Bant Boggles is good? I think it... I don't know. Like, you know what? There is definitely a better list. I played Bant Boggles, and we definitely didn't have the right list the first time. But, like, in my Discord, Lord Magicus cleaned it up a little bit, and it looked like a way better list. So there is maybe potential. Let's just say, I think there's potential to Bant Boggles, but it hasn't been proven yet. But we know Selesnya Boggles is trash. It just doesn't work at all. So I'm putting my hopes into Bant Boggles. Card draw for the win. Magic the Gathering Online crashed during the match. Psh, that's no excuse. Get a better computer. This is not an easy life hack, but your Magic the Gathering Online will run way better if you have a great computer. I don't experience any crashing anymore ever since I got a supercomputer. Slip out the back seems great in Bant Boggles. I don't even know what that is. Oh, slip out the back. That's the new card. A new one. Put a counter on target creature, it phases out. Instant. That is interesting, actually, yes. That protects it from and keeps all the auras, actually. Whoa! That is a huge upgrade, actually. That is a huge upgrade. For Bant Boggles. Or just Boggles in general. If you, so yeah, this is a way of actually getting around things also like Supreme Verdict. What else? What else is this, like, really useful? Maybe Engineered Explosives? So they crack the explosives, you just slip out the back with all your auras. Because it keeps all the auras. When you phase something out, it phases the auras with it, too. This is crazy. Yeah, this is a great suggestion. Is Sanguine Spy good in, Is Sanguine Spy good in vampires? Oh, this... You know what we need to do? Tomorrow, let's look at every single new vampire that came out of Streets of New Capenna, because you know what? I didn't really care for this set, but now I've realized there's like a bunch of new vampires. What was the question? Good in vampire. Menace, lifelink 2/3. Sacrifice another creature. You look at the top card of your library, you may put that card into your graveyard. That's trash. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 5 or more mana values among cards you're in graveyard, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. No, this is terrible. This is, I think, a little too much. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Oh, we have another $5. Thank you so much, guys. Doug Nutter. My girlfriend is getting into Modern. What are some good decks to get her started? Great content as always. I'm assuming you mean like a budget deck? I mean, if you want to go... If you want something that's really good and relatively easy on autopilot, not autopilot, but like, I think Blue-Red Murktide is one of the best decks to get into, because if you know nothing about the format, this deck is pretty powerful on its own, and as she learns the deck, she can play it better, and it will get stronger. And I mean, you can also probably play this deck on a budget. Take out the Ragavan for, like, I don't know, Swiftspear or something. Maybe take out Murktide for something else. So there's ways of like playing it on a budget and then upgrading it over time. So I think that would be one deck to get into. Otherwise, you could get, like, there's always Burn, but like it's sort of a lame deck to get into unless she really wants to commit to this deck for a very long time. Like, there's no upgrade path to Burn. It's just Burn. I mean, it's an easy deck to get into, relatively easy to play. What else? You know what? Hold on. Let's pull up. This wasn't just some random question. You donated. You super chatted. Okay, so let's go to decks, popular decks. It'd be good to know, are you looking for something that's straightforward to play or something that's budget friendly? That would probably be the most important question I would have. Because there's, like, Crashing Footfalls is a fantastic deck to play. Wow, Burn is so high. I think this is overrepresented. I don't think this is a true meta percentage. These stats are BS on the site now. Crashing Footfalls is also a really strong deck to get into, but very expensive, of course. Tron is still good. It says mono green Tron, and then puts the Azorius colors here. Makes no sense. She likes elves, budget, but not much of a problem. She likes elves, huh? Problem with elves, elves is getting its ass kicked right now. What is like elves that maybe you would like to play? Budget, not much of... Oh, the budget doesn't matter, huh? What's the best, like, tribalish deck that we can play here? Tribal deck's not doing so hot right now. Oh, maybe Affinity. And maybe the more elemental version of Elemental. But I would think maybe she would like Affinity, where she just spews all her cards onto the battlefield. And and you know what? Like, you can still buy some powerful cards like Urza Saga and still be with, like, really within a budget. This is probably a really good deck for her. Like, the deck is still good. And it's outperforming the tribal decks. We've got Memnite, Ornithopter. The key cards are Thought Monitor and Urza Saga. The Antiquities of War? I have no idea if this card is good or not, but whatever. So actually, maybe because Elves is like the type of deck that likes to spew everything out immediately. And that's the same case here. And you, like, win with Cranial Plating, and... Oh, I'm surprised there's no... I'm not seeing the equipment. But this would be my pick. As the most competitive deck that sort of plays like Elves. In my opinion. How about Dirty Goblins? Goblins are not too bad, and actually Aspiring Spike is doing quite well with Goblins, so you could look that one up as well. All these cards are ugly? I don't think it's ugly. I would actually, you know what? Like, I don't care for Affinity, but if I'm playing a blue Affinity deck, I think I would like this. I think this would be cool. The only problem with this deck is Force of Vigor is pretty popular in the format, and it's just going to blow all this stuff away. Jose says, I don't play MTG for a year. Come back and see. Murktide, Amulet, Footfalls, and Hammer Time are still top. Like the meta hasn't changed at all. Something like that. Tell her to get with Dire to build the most competitive version of elves. Yeah, we have quite a few elves players here. Yawgmoth is a creature toolbox deck. Well, elves is not really. Elves is like, at its soul, it's like a combo aggro deck, you know? They like to spew everything on the battlefield. Yawgmoth is like not really there. But she could look into it. She could look into like Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth is like elves, but with little dudes who combo. I don't really look at them like the same deck. But you know what, maybe. It's got Wall of Roots. So you could look into Yawgmoth as well. It's green with a splash of black, which, by the way, maybe she's already familiar with. So if she likes playing green, I mean, maybe this actually is going to be really close. You still get to play with Chord of Calling. It's a creature deck. You get to play with Chord of Calling and Eldritch Evolution. There is a great, I think it's from Mason Clark. Mason Clark, Yawgmoth. This is an absolute must-read. A guide, Yawgmoth, Modern Yawgmoth Guide. Maybe this is the article that's made this deck good now, because now more people actually know how this deck works. Why should I be playing Yawgmoth? So there's a big, so just look up Mason Clark Yawgmoth Guide, and you'll be really well prepared to play the Yawgmoth deck, because otherwise there's like a lot of nuances that don't make any sense if you just don't know how to use it. Thank you for the recommendation. She likes Affinity, and she does have a lot of the Yawgmoth cards. Excellent, excellent. Good luck with that. All right, it's time for the change of gears. It's time for deck list review. Oh shoot, do I have? Okay, hold on. I didn't save this deck from last time. What is today? Thursday? No, today's Wednesday. Okay, I'm gonna skip one of the paywall deck list reviews because I didn't get it set up. Sorry about that, Lurwig. But we still have Thursday and Friday to... Oh no, today's Thursday? Today's Thursday? Where's all my time gone? Oh, then I have to get this set up. Alright. Where is the other deck lists? Grixis Zombies. Alright, but for anyone who's not paywall deck list reviewed, if you want a chance at your deck list being showcased on the channel, get some feedback, go into my description. There is a link to my Discord. Join the Discord, follow the channel deck list review, and then, well, not follow, sorry, find the channel deck list review, enter the command, ! Review deck space, give the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random for deck list review. You almost got me saying it's Wednesday. I had no idea. I can't believe it's Thursday. Ugh, it's like I lost a day. Hey Nikachu, how's it going? Important question. What's your favorite kind of cheese? Kraft singles. The thin ones, not the thick ones. I like the thin ones. It's my favorite. I don't really eat any other cheese. Okay, so we're gonna go to this deck list. Better get rid of this banner right now. Is this too close? No, this is good. Okay. Oh no, I gotta zoom out. Okay, we're gonna zoom out. Okay, so this is now we looked. Lurwig had like 3 vampire decks, and now we have a zombie deck. Champion of the Perished, Gravecrawler, Dreadhorde Butcher, Plague Belcher, Death Baron, Diregraft Captain, Murderous Rider, Geralf's Messenger, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Again with this expressive iteration nonsense, and 2 Counter Squall, 3 Lightning Bolt, 2 Fatal Push. Do we really need this Dreadhorde Butcher? It's not bad. I played with this card before. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, put a counter on Dreadhorde Butcher. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. It's not terrible. Pick a real cheese? Never. Absolutely not. Craft singles it is. Like, we don't need these cards. The tough part is because Diregraph Captain is actually really good. Whenever a zombie you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life. This is actually too good. We're gonna put a 4th one in here. We're just gonna take out these counter squalls. I don't know what we're gonna do with this expressive iteration. What's the mana base like? 19 lands? What, in this million... Like, everything's a 3 mana spell in here. Skeletons you control and other zombies you control get a +1/+1 and have death touch. Do we have, like, a sack outlet? Champion of the Parish, Gravecrawler. How do we not have, Carrion Feeder? I don't think you're gonna, like... Again, this is a deck playing Fatal Push and Lightning Bolt in the same deck. Okay, so we need definitely 2 more lands. Blackcleave Cliffs, Blood Crypt, Bloodstained Mire, Darklick Shores, Pluto Delta, Swamp. That's fine. Okay, let's take out... We have Aether Vial. By legal definition, it's not cheese. It's cheese product. I don't know. Swiss cheese, then. When I played this deck, I suggested 2 more lands. I also suggest 2 more lands. But alternatively, we could also cut the curve. Like, I actually don't think it's really that important that you have so many lords in the deck. So, for example, we could take out Death Baron and add, what's it called? Carrion Feeder. And that has... Because you sort of need the Carrion Feeder in these decks so that you have good synergy with your Diregraph Captain. Diregraph Captain is amazing because you can have... Depending on the board state, you play Diregraph Captain, sack the board, and your opponent just dies on the spot. Oh, another super chat. Thank you so much, Data Agent. Behind on stream, my name is the chassis code for the 1990 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX and the engine code that comes in the car, respectively. I was right! It was not Data Agent. That 2 cannot represent an A, even in leet speak words. Not a chance. Okay, but we're gonna... Your code name on this channel now is Data Agent, because the chat said so. I also took a good guess based on the fact that you put, like, a car part in your avatar. Goblin Bombardment is better than Carrion... Better?! Well, who's to say that... Okay, how about we add more? You know what? Frankly, I don't care for this expressive iteration. Let's put Goblin Bombardment. We can have more than 1, right? Like, why not? Carrion Feeder is like a big creature in itself. You sack a creature and you have this Champion of the Parish thing. The number 2 is also the @ symbol on a keyboard, so it can be an A. Ah, I see. Big brain leet speak. Well, so here's the problem. I like Undead Augur. I don't mind it, but, like, what are we getting rid of? Like, at some point, we're going to, like, lose the... Does this thing need to be Grixis? Oh, God, we have a Braid and Dreadbore again in the sideboard. I don't see the point of Expertate. So we can add another Counter Squall. Okay, honestly, this deck should just be Dimir or Rakdos. Probably Rakdos. Well, I can see maybe a small splash for the Diregraph Captain, because this is very, very good. Both sack outlets sound good. You guys are getting behind. Is there any... Hold on, what else comes back from the graveyard if we sack it? Messenger is great. Huge fan of Messenger. Okay, hold on. So we have 29... 74 cards. Let's add another land. Let's add another land. Let's go down on Fatal Pushes and go up on Lightning Bolt. How many... I might need more red sources. 3, 5... 3, 5, 9... 13... It's close. Travel and Secluded Courtyard? Maybe not necessarily. Because we really need... What does that card do? Spend this mana only to cast creature spell of the chosen type or activated ability of a creature type. Well, I'd rather run Cavernous Souls if that was the case. Gripbreaker and Dread Wanderer are good for grindy matchups. If you can really pull off the Gripbreaker, but I don't... You know, it really, honestly, Modern's not really that much about the grind anymore. Hello. Hello, Roma. Welcome. What is that deck trying to do? Go big or go wide? I think the deck is just trying to do a thing, and then, at the right moment... And I think between Plague Belcher and Diregraph Captain, that's a really good combo with our sack outlets like Carrion Feeder and Goblin Bombardment. Cut Dreadhorde for Undead Augur. What, and make the red mana easier? But when it dies... Okay, well, what is... It just draws me cards, right? Undead Augur. Yeah, whenever Undead Augur or another zombie control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Okay. So... Cut Vials, Prismatic Ending is a thing? It's not a terrible idea, but I mean, like, not every deck has Prismatic Ending. Please, keep that in mind. Not every deck plays Prismatic Ending. But this does feel like a lot of lands that have no utility. But, like, alternative... Like, we don't need Urborg. Like, what is even the point of Urborg in this deck? So our fetch lands add black mana. We could add some... Like, it's not clear to me that we need Urborg here. What is the land? Is gray worth it? Absolutely not, to be honest. This is just fancy. We'll just dump this. These 28 creatures look good. I'm actually fine with the Dreadhorde Butcher, because it dies, it will, hopefully it gets big, and then you can just sack it and kill your opponent. Don't play Urborg right now. It helps coffers out. There's not a lot of people playing coffers. I can't play any red sources because everything needs to be a black source for at least Geralf's Messenger. I want some utility lands, though. How many blue sources do we have? 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 10. Not a lot, but it will... I think it'll be fine. Between that and the Ether Vial. What's the land that draws cards? Could the deck play Ob Nixilis? Maybe. Especially if you like sack Geralf's Messenger or Champion of the Perished. Yeah, Castle Lothwain. I think this deck should have 2 of them. Which puts this deck at 75. 22 lands. Well, that's not too bad. Library of Alexandria. Has the show ended? No, it's still going on. Oh, Data Agent just became a YouTube member. Thanks for joining the show. Hot take, Rotting Regisaur? Oh, is it a zombie? Is Rotting Regisaur a zombie? I don't know how good this card is. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card. Because we don't have a very good way of clearing the board for our creature, so they can just chump block it a lot. No, Liliana of the Veil is pretty poor. I think there's a good point that this deck could probably use the new Obnixilis. How much room do we have? Okay, what's going on the sideboard? I think for the main we've got, it's good. And we'll just go to the sideboard now. There is Nihil Spellbomb, Engineered Explosives, which will blow up most of your stuff. Seems like this guy just loves his Engineered Explosives. It can only really be used, well, whatever. It's for the Construct tokens and I guess the Crashing Footfall tokens. Void Mirror, Abrade, Counter Squall, and Dreadbore. I might... Here, let's clean this up a little bit. What does Dreadbore kill? Planeswalkers? Ah, okay, this is fine. I have a feeling this sideboard could get a lot better, but... Ooh, maybe the Eye of the Tyrant. Okay, hold on. Maybe Eye of the Tyrant is good. Eye of the Hive Tyrant? No, it doesn't. This is not the name of the creature. Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Okay. Hive of the... Holy crap, it's 30 bucks. What does it do again? Till end of turn, it is a 3/3 Black Beholder creature with menace. Whenever this creature attacks, exile target card from defending player's graveyard. It's still land. This is fantastic. Yeah, I like it. I like it more than... actually, we're going to load up on more of these. I can't remove anything else, though. Okay, we're just going to leave it as it is. But yeah, that's a good land. That's a good one. That's a good one. You know what? We're going to get greedy. I'm going to put another one in here. It's too good. Okay, I think we're going to leave it as is. Probably Obnixilis could go in here. Okay, hold on. What does Obnixilis do? Each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or a devil, you gain 2 life. As you cast this spell, you sacrifice a creature with power X. When you do copy the spell, it becomes a copy of the token. Okay, we're gonna play this deck without this card for now, but like it could potentially go in here. It could definitely potentially go in here. But that is gonna be it. That's gonna be it for deck list. Sorry, that's gonna be it for this deck list. I don't think it looks too bad. I don't think it looks too bad. Maybe it could be a little bit more refined without the blue, but Diregraph Captain honestly is a pretty awesome card. Like, it's really, really good. Okay, now it's time for a regular deck list. From Deck List Review. Fabrian! Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Deck List Review. And it's called Dog. Vile is in there. There's nothing wrong with Vile. Like, sure, there's Prismatic Ending out there, but, like, actually there's less decks playing... You know, even Hammer Time doesn't play with Prismatic Ending anymore. Get this. The deck is called Dog, and it's got the dog up here. Dog, what is it? Dog Elemental deck? Animal Sanctuary. Oh, I like the flavor of this. Cavernous Souls, Iganjo, Godless Shrine, Hostile Desert, Marsh Flats, Plains, Sacred Foundry, Kenzen, Crucible of Defiance, and Windbrisk Heights. Okay. Bolt Hound. Dog. Haste. When it attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Fury. Yeah, what's a red deck without Fury? Gold Hound. First Strike Menace. Sacrifice Gold Hound, add 1 mana of any color. Pack Leader. Other dogs you control get +1/+1. Whenever Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control. Whenever it attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to dogs. So basically, you can attack for free. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to this turn to dogs you control. That's fantastic. This is probably has to be a 4 in this deck. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Solitude, Spirited Companion, Dog. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Stonebinder's Familiar. Whenever one or more cards are put into exile during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Stonebinder's Familiar. This ability triggers only once each turn. This sucks. Whenever one or more cards are put into exile during your turn, this is too hard to pull off. Underworld Rage Hound, which is a hound, which is not a dog. Oh, is it errated to be dog? Underworld Rage Hound. I heard that they errated everything to be a dog. Elemental dog. Yeah, dog. Also dog. Attacks each turn if able. Escape, 1 red, 3 generic, exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. Underworld Rage Hound escapes with a +1/+1 counter on it. This is great. This is fantastic, actually. So it's 2 mana, dies, can come back. So I guess the idea is if it exiles, like, you can get a counter on this, but I think this is just better. I think you should take out the 4 of Stonebinder's Familiar, add 2 more Underworld Rage Hounds, and definitely another Spirited Companion, and definitely add 2 more Selfless Saviors to this deck, because this is a very strong card. Prismatic Ending, Reckless Impulse, exile the top 2 cards of your library until end of turn. You should just play more creatures if they're available. Kunros, Hound of Athreos. It's probably gonna be tough on the mana here, you know. It's gonna be tough. This is Orzhov, right? Or is there any black in here? I don't think it's a Mardu deck. Ooh, Ephemerate, great. Let's play 4 of these. It works with Solitude and Fury. Needs Isamaru. Hold on, how good is this thing? Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink. Creature cards and graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from their graveyards. Hurts you a little bit. Dogs do have better 1-drops than Merfolk. Isamaru, Hound of Kondo. Okay, hold on. Isamaru. This card sucks. No one suggests that card. Okay, so instead of Reckless Impulse, add another Ephemerate, and then we took 1 extra card. We added 1 extra card from the main deck, so that's what we'll take out here. Sideboard, you got Chandra, Fateful Absence, Ingot Chewer. What? Are these really the best cards you can play? You know, I have a hard time believing that we have all the best dogs. Oops, I'm in the wrong spot. Creature. Dog. Legal Modern. We'll say white and red for now. So what do we got here that we're missing? This is a dog? That's hilarious. Each creature with... whatever, we don't need that. Flash when it enters the battlefield. It's a draft card. That is cute! Alpine Watchdog. This is a very cute card. This is very, very cute. Arcbound Tracker, Menace, Modular 2. When you cast a spell other than your first spell each turn, put a +1/+1 counter. When you cast a spell other than the first spell each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Arcbound Tracker. This is a good dog. This is a good dog. It's a good doggy. You should have the Arcbound Tracker in your deck. What are we removing, though? Maybe, okay, well... Okay, maybe we don't have enough room in the main deck. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures in control get +1/+1/+0. Okay, I'm not gonna add any more dogs, but like, are there any dogs that have utility? Mutavault is the best doggo. Can we add Mutavault? Maybe. Colorless. Yeah, I think we can add Mutavault. There's room. Oh, hon, there's not that much land in this deck. Oh no, there's Shattered Skull Smashing. There's probably some room to add Mutavault to this deck as well. Also dog. What's Ingot Chewer? It's a creature that enters the battlefield and chews up an artifact. Fateful Absence. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Its controller investigates. Kahira. Not a dog. Each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. I don't get it. How can you play this card? Everything is a dog. Cats don't like dogs. Kunaros. Oh, you are playing with Kunaros, Hound of Athreos. Okay, so but as like, you know, in the right matchups you bring it in. Rest in peace, Sanctifier. On Vec, the Wandering Emperor, Wisp Mare. Is this playing the red-white dog that tutors up the other two? No. What is the red-white dog that tutors up the other two? I'm not familiar with all the dogs. Red, white. Oops. Is there a gold dog? Oh, Hound Tamer? Oh, it's green though. And I'm guessing it does something on the night side. Wolves and werewolves? No, this is not it. Not dog. It does not tutor up dogs either. Yeah, it must be something else. Laddermy's Call? No, that's not it. Alpine Houndmaster. Ah, here we go. So, in enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named Alpine Watchdog, and or card named Igneous Cur. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. When Alpine Houndmaster attacks, it gets plus X plus 0 until end of turn, where X is the number of other attacking creatures. But not dog. Okay, so you can get... for Alpine Watchdog. Oh, the cute doggy. Not a very impressive card, though. And Igneous Cur. Also not really... this is a little crappy, to be honest. Not impressed. Does not tickle my fancy. Okay, I don't know what to do for the sideboard, but I think we gave enough feedback, I think, for the main deck. Definitely add more Ephemerates, because it's a really good deck between Solitude and Fury. And I think you can blink everything else as well. And it's just good versus removal. Alright, thanks for submitting the deck list. Dogs in Modern. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. We do this Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Send me stuff to my P.O. Box, and I'll open it up on stream so everyone can see what you sent me. We're also going to thank everyone who supports the channel with Super Chats and who are joining with the join button. It's like subscribing on Twitch, which is already, they're like claiming they're going to... I don't know, Twitch is making big moves, big changes. They're like making... the revenue worse on Twitch for some of their best streamers, though. But they might actually remove exclusivity on Twitch, which means I can stream Coffee and MTG on Twitch and on YouTube at the same time. And outside of that, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I think it was a great conversation, so keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care. I'll see you guys next